Hey there, it's Dr. Tom with EBM Fitness Solutions, and should you be doing plyometrics? So plyometrics encompass explosive type exercises. Most people associate this with jumping, but there are upper body plyometric exercises you can do. So the question is, should you? Is it a good idea? And like most things in fitness, it depends. But I will say, for most people, the answer is no. It just doesn't make any sense. When you look at injury history, where they are in their fitness journey, and what their goals are, plyometrics don't make sense for a lot of people. Because you need to have something kind of in order before you would even start doing those things. Ankle mobility is important. Decent lower body strength is important. If you don't know how to do basic squat and lunge patterns, then just jumping for the sake of jumping is borderline stupid. Sorry, let's call it what it is. Now, this doesn't mean plyometrics are bad. Plyometrics are actually really great in the right circumstance. Used for the right reasons by the right people, they are awesome. I incorporate them into my training sometimes, but again, there has to be a reason why you're doing anything in your program, not just plyometrics. If you're doing a movement, why? And does it align with what your goals are, and does it fit with your injury history and things like that? If it doesn't, then you should not be doing it. Plyometrics are higher risk exercises. Because they're more explosive, there's more things that can go wrong. You can land funny, you can tweak something on the way up. So you need to make sure that you understand how to do them properly, which most people don't. They're poorly utilized. People do way too much volume, which is not really how they're intended, and their technique is horrible. And when you combine those two things together, you have a really nasty recipe for something to go horribly wrong for your body. So when does it make sense to incorporate plyometrics into your program? Maybe never. Sorry, that's just the bad news. You may never get to that point where it makes sense for you to do them. However, some things to think about. If you're just starting out in an exercise program, if your primary goal is weight loss, if you have current lower body injuries or have a history of lower body injuries, probably not the best thing to start with. Doesn't mean they can't come in later on in the program, but really not the best time to start with those things. Learn how to move your body, learn how to squat properly, learn how to deadlift properly, learn how to lunge properly. Do those things first, and then reassess down the road and see if plyos make more sense at that time. They may never make sense. If you're going to do them, one thing I usually encourage people to start with is learning how to land properly first, and then transition into doing some kind of a jump or something like that. One more quick thing in regards to plyometrics, specifically jumping. Squat jumps are a pretty popular thing that are thrown around. People do kind of randomly for no good reason, just because it's easy to program. Here's the thing. So squat jumps and sometimes box jumps, right? They're very similar. You're jumping one, you're just jumping up and down. The other one, you're jumping up onto some sort of a box or other surface. Plyometrics are already a higher risk exercise. Jumping onto a box increases that risk even more, and it's kind of a pointless activity in reality, because what you're trying to do with a squat jump and a box jump are basically the same. You're just adding in something that you can hit your foot on and trip over, knock over, and this is something that can also change your mechanics depending on what you're jumping on. Sometimes some boxes come up and actually have a smaller top than their base, so then you have to land with your feet closer together. So in general, I would say, you know what, just do your squat jumps. There's no reason to jump onto a surface, because here's the deal. Jumping onto a 30-inch box does not mean you have a 30-inch vertical. It does not work that way. So if you're doing it as some sort of an ego trip, that's fine, but understand that's not what it means. You're going to be better served just working on jumping straight up and down, with learning how to jump properly, land with good proper mechanics, instead of just trying to jump up onto some surface that's probably too high and cause you to land in some sort of crunched up position this way, instead of landing with good proper mechanics. So if you're going to do it right, learn how to do it. But before you even get to that point, step back and say, does it really make sense for me to be doing this? And in most cases, the answer is going to be no.